mentioned creating your own path. What's the path that you want to create for yourself?
I want to get a message out and help other people while also building myself up and getting what I want.
That was good. Yeah. Happiness is what happens.
And that stuck with me even through challenging times that followed uh, being in the army, being an educator. When people didn't believe in me, I still was able to believe in myself because
5 years ago, I discovered podcasts and it changed my life because I started to listen to all these podcasts and start to hear all of this free information and all these fly on the wall conversations with these amazing people. And it literally changed who I am as a person. So
find that, whatever it is, that truth that aligns with us, that makes us feel good, and use that to ground us.
Wow, because life is going to come faster to those people who do that to credit.
So I just want to say, whoever's listening, thank you. Hey everyone, welcome to the Case by Casey podcast. I'm your host, Jethro Casey, and if you're a new listener, this podcast is all about uncovering the secrets to success, one case at a time. I'll be interviewing amazing guests to try and understand what it means to win and succeed in life. If you want to go faster, you go alone, but if you want to go further, we go together. So join me on trying to figure out the secrets to success. I forgot to press record, guys, so I'm just going to do a little reintroduction of my guest today. Today I'm interviewing someone who I had the chance to meet back in Brooklyn at the gym that I go to. He's a fashion trendsetter, lives by the motto, eat, train, repeat, and he's been featured in Men's Health as a young guy with a busy schedule. But he often goes the extra mile to stay healthy. He's got enough on his plate with a job as an associate account executive at the Fleantrian School, a tech boot camp, and as a fledgling fitness enthusiast, hoping to get other people moving. I introduced to the podcast Jonathan Lewis. Great. So prior to the recording, we talked a little bit about a quarter life creative identity crisis, and we don't have to re-say the conversation, but kind of just I want to give like a little background of what we did talk about so far. We talked about how there's kind of like different seasons in your life, and at times you're gonna have to leave who you are and kind of realize and reevaluate who you want to be. So that's kind of a little bit of what we talked about. And can you just give like a small, I guess, like a small concise version of kind of what that looks like for you now? Because I don't want to like re-dive into the whole question again.
Yeah. I would simply say to make it as concise as possible, you have to be able to find who you are to be able to know who you are. You can't know yourself unless you find yourself. I be making those on the spot. I don't even know. Trust me. That was good. That was better than I thought.
So that was really good. So let's say I'm somebody who doesn't know who I am and struggles to kind of, who wants to find themselves but doesn't know where to start. We've mentioned that for dealing with your quarter life creative identity crisis, something that you've been doing is prayer. And another topic that you have, or another thing that you do, is lifting. Can you tell how lifting helps you to kind of find yourself and help you kind of know who you are?
Yeah, great question. Really good question. You know, when you're lifting, and I'm sure you're familiar with this, you'll realize a lot of your physical needs and your physical tendencies. With lifting, it also requires discipline, and you'll be able to find out a lot of who you are through that discipline. I think in the fitness world, in the fitness culture, there's a lot of myths of like, if you want to lose weight, you gotta do cardio. If you want to get big, you gotta lift super, super, super heavy. And through finding yourself, through physically finding yourself, you'll realize the things that you enjoy. And I really do. I'm dedicated to the gym lifestyle because everything transfers over outside of that. So finding myself in the gym and realizing that I enjoy movement. Movement is a really big thing as far as my passions goes because I realize in everyday life we sit so much and we're so static for such long periods of time, and most of the things that we enjoy doing do not involve movement. So learning about myself, I found that in myself that I enjoy the exciting adrenaline-inducing movement. And I take that and I learned that by myself and bring that outside the gym. I'm looking at things that are giving me the same drive and passion to create. What are things of movement that will stimulate me? And that's how I got into fashion, of realizing fashion is very dynamic. There's not just one working part of just being, even with wearing all black, which is my favorite example. There's so many textures. There's leather, there's polyester, there's cotton, there's different patterns you can do with all black, and just because you wear all black doesn't mean that you match. And that's so dynamic. And that's when I was able to find myself of like, hey, in the gym, am I a morning person or a night person? Well, I enjoy going in the morning. How does that implement to other parts of my life? And then about diet, which is another great part of lifting. When you're lifting, what does your diet look like for you to be able to achieve your goals? How dedicated or disciplined can you be to your own body first before you try to be dedicated to being a drop shipper, an entrepreneur, opening up your own business, your e-store, because that's our day and age. You want to be a content creator, you want to be a YouTuber, you want to be a podcaster. Yeah, you want to do all these things of self-development and self-growth. Well, let's just get you in the gym. Let's physically see if you can dedicate yourself to your own body. And I will say for you, he's there. He hasn't seen me there in 2 weeks, so he can pull my G card right now if he wanted to.
So I gotta say, you said a bunch of things that I really love there, and I'm taking notes. So one thing that or a few things that I really like is you said you have to start with your body, and I love that because, like you're saying, it's a form of discipline. If you can't stay disciplined within yourself and who you are, and the thing is, what you also said is or how I took it, you said there's like a complexity of everything. So in the fashion, you said there's different ways you could wear black, and through that fashion, you've learned a lot about yourself. You said through lifting, it starts off as lifting, but then you realize, do you prefer going to the gym in the morning or at night? Do you prefer like what type of diets do you prefer? What food works best for you? So I think really once you start kind of going in depth about so something can start as simple, but once you start going in depth to it, everything is like very complex. So we were talking prior to this about thinking with intention will help you lead your thoughts. So if I'm somebody who struggles with my thoughts are controlling me rather than I'm controlling where I want my thoughts to go. What advice would you have to that person who kind of okay, we'll go with that, and then we'll get back to thrifting. But what thoughts would you have about that, or advice would you give that person?
Find your local church and find your pastor to slap holy water on you. That is a really, really big question, but I said that jokingly, but you definitely have to get some type of professional help. I do believe there's a very fine line between, because I've been there before in having to grow. Like when I was like the ages of 12 to 14, I was having a lot of issues with my physical appearance because I went to school in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, which is a place where a lot of predominantly fair-skinned people go to school. A lot of Hispanics, so a lot of people are more fair-skinned. I'm not even that dark, I mean, for real. But when people are just fairer than you, they have different hair textures, then that's the age of relationships too. So seeing shorties, flock towards a dude with the curls, and my hair is 4C, and I'm also I'm pretty much bigger. I was like wearing 180, and then I bulked up to 200. So it's like having this physical issue, it also attacked my identity mentally, and I was having a lot of thoughts that I couldn't control. And there's a very fine line of like, am I able to tell people around me about this and start creating a conducive environment for growth? Or is it to the point of I have included people, I've changed my environment, and these thoughts are still there? Because mental health is a very serious thing. As much as I'm a believer and I love my Christ, I love my Jesus, he also gave resources for us to use and professionals, and gave wisdom of how we can do these things in a professional manner. So I'll start there. I just want that to be the prefix, because please, y'all, don't. Yes, pray, go to church, read your Bible, drink water. But if your thoughts are getting to the point where you have these people checking up on you, you going to the gym, you're trying to get sunshine, going for walks, doing positive things, and it's still a dark cloud, yo, get your help. There's no shame in help. There's no shame in medication. But if you are able to sometimes get a better day and a bad day, and you're fighting, if there's a fight, it's a battle, and it's not a war that you already lost. I do say focus on what is rolling, the momentum on your good days. What are the things that give you 2 + 2 = 4? What are the things that you realize are -6? Start analyzing and reflecting the things that are taking you out of character. I think it's so easy for us to get so trapped in our thoughts that we have one right after the other. And I don't even think it's an attention span thing or any knock to our generation. It's just a people thing. It's easy for us to go from experiencing one thing and without processing it fully, jump right into the other. Like, how did this just affect me? Why did this get me so out of character? Why did this get me so angry? Why am I feeling this way? And analyzing the events that have led up to the point that we're feeling those emotions at that point in time, and then reforming and reshaping how we feel about it is taking good care of ourselves. That's a part of wellness. A part of it all is saying, this is how I feel in this moment. This is why. Now I have to understand that the next time this happens, I need an approach, I need a tactic, I need a strategy for me to create a boundary so this doesn't happen again, or um, some type of strategic protection of response to this. It's fight and flight responses. You know, flight is creating a boundary, and fight is a response to it. So creating that tactic of, yo, this is a pet peeve of mine, or this is what gets me sad. Why are you listening to Snow Allegra SZA at 8 o'clock in the morning? For anybody, I'm pretty sure that won't go too well. You know, why, you know, you roll over and you look at your phone and you're going through comments and you're going through Instagram, you're seeing Moneybagg Yo give Ari a lamb truck and all these people, Lil Baby went to jail, this, that, and then you out here, sis, you going throughout your day like, I need a man who can like provide. Like, you're not even referencing Moneybagg or Ari or these people, but it's already in your mind. It's already, you don't realize the depth to your choices. And I actually had to deconstruct my own thoughts of like, do I even want to be wealthy? Bro, the last time I took a solo trip was to Puerto Rico in January. I did a solo trip. I highly recommend those. Traveling by yourself is definitely the fastest ways to control your thoughts. Because when there's nobody there, if you're really a Debbie Downer, you're gonna find out real quick. It's gonna expose you quick, because you got nobody to talk to. How many people can you FaceTime in a day? And you're in Puerto Rico, you're vacationing. What are you gonna do? There's only so much you can do. So it's just you and yourself. And yeah, experiences like that, I realized I don't even want $1 million home. I don't actually want it. I don't. It's not something I'm ambitious about. I care more about the environment of my home than the size of my house. And I'm not trying to be like the different dude, but it's like I really sat there and realized, because in Puerto Rico the houses are different, but they're really nice. So it was just like, bro, I'd be fine living here. Like, I don't need nothing crazy. It's actually the environment that I like here that is warm enough that I can work out every day. It's people that say good morning to you every time you pass by. And I was just deconstructing the thought of like what I want to do for like my success or my wealth, if God willing, I have it one day. And I deconstructed that thought of like, yeah, yo, that lamb truck is tough. I actually want it. Yo, so like I want floor to glass windows, and I want the full, like you know how we get. We see stuff and we're like, yo, that would be dope. Like, I bet, let me get this, we start piecing things together until we deconstruct the thought and we realize, man, I can go without it. I like vintage cars. I like the old BMWs, the little one that are like boxes, or that Land Rovers. I like just the boxy shaped cars. That's just my vibe. And I'm just like, okay, that's me. Now I know. I don't, now when I see all those things of like, it's cool. It's beautiful. It's not for me though. So that helped construct my thoughts.
So I think the first thing that you said, or the last thing that you said, is kind of talking about choosing what works for you. And you mentioned social media, like the music that you listen to. We have all these influences on our mind that don't necessarily come from us. Social media, we're seeing, like how you were saying, we're seeing what this person's doing, what this celebrity is doing, and people kind of confuse what they want with what other people have. And I think that's something that's very important. That's something that you realized on your trip to Puerto Rico is that, hey, I don't need the mansion. I don't need all this glamorous stuff. That's not for me. And I think that's something that people need to know is that that's perfectly fine. Not everything that other people have is going to make you happy and vice versa. And something you also said is that time alone can kind of expose your thoughts. You said you're going to figure out on that solo trip if you're a Debbie Downer. And the solo trip is also something I want to get into because I had a question about that. But I think that's awesome because something that I think people use social media for is to get outside of their head where they don't spend that time alone. So I think that's actually some really good advice. Go on a trip by yourself. Do not even a trip. Go out by yourself. Go on a walk like you were saying. Do something where you could be with your own thoughts. And then you also mentioned sometimes there's things that are out of your control. You said if you're self-improving, you're doing all the right things, you're walking, you're meditating, you're journaling, but you still can't seem to be happy, then there's nothing wrong with getting help and going to an actual professional. So I think you've said a lot of great things so far, and this is an awesome conversation. So my question to you now is, you travel solo quite a bit. What are two of the biggest lessons you learned about yourself or others while traveling alone?
Wow, these questions are good. I'm happy I didn't. I know I asked for them beforehand, but I'm happy I didn't. Yeah, yeah. Also, the biggest lesson I realized, well, the only way I got to that conclusive thought of what I liked is also because I was fasting. I did a food fast before then, and I cut off all forms of entertainment. So I didn't watch any TV. I didn't have social media. I didn't go on any social outings. Um, no YouTube, no anything, just a Bible. That's the only book I was reading. So even texting, I just told my friends, yo, I'll be back at the end of the month. And, first 3 days, extremely boring, falling asleep a lot. Because I'm also like food fasting. I just put myself in a very hyper natural state of
Real quick, what do you mean by food fasting? Were you eating at all? Were you like, what, can you just explain?
Oh yeah. I was doing like a 6 to 6, so like from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. No food, probably just drink some water stuff. So keeping it really light. And yeah, that experience, first 3 days were, bro, I was just looking like, all right, like I read my Bible a couple times. I've thought some stuff out a couple times. And then it's like around like this fifth, sixth, seventh day around there, that's when the fruit of all of this started kicking in. And that's when like creativity really flowed of like, this is actually a way peaceful life. Like this is a way of life. So then when I finally got to my trip, solo traveling and not being connected to anything like entertainment wise, it brought a lot of more awareness. Um, that solo trip, being able to just sit with my own thoughts and check in with myself constantly, it was even better to do on the beach. I'll just say that's just even better. I definitely cried because it's such a beautiful moment to have. And I think the beauty even more was the fact that I got to do it with myself. The second thing I'll say I learned is like sometimes it's best that you don't have somebody there. I think it's so easy in this, and I mean specifically our age, like from like I would say from like 18 to 25, we're getting so accustomed to wanting to do things because we were more active than millennials. They wasn't lit like us at our age, but it's always like it's either really toxic individualism or gang, or boo boo boo, like it's my boo, it's my bae shorty, and it's either three. And in life, there's a lot of gray. That's my theme for like probably this whole year. Life is gray. There's a lot of things that you will have answers to, then you won't have answers to. But life is not solo. Life is not gang. and life is not bathed up either. It's a mixture. So it's like there's gonna be times where you need to be solo. And that trip was definitely, if I was with someone, I don't think I would have grown the way I needed to solo. So the time we need to be solo, it's time where it to be gang, gang, gang. It's time where it's time to be all together, enjoying, lifting a glass, celebrating. And there's a time where you boot up somewhere, but there are memories that you have in each of those that will play a bigger factor into who you are. When you're with gang, there's jokes, there's memories where you need to have. But which one of the three will really create the character development that you're seeking? Beige is gonna give you lovey-dovey romantic vibes, which we all need. I remember, uh, like probably a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit, probably like this summer, last summer around this time, I was just like, bro, Shorty's just gonna take my resources and not allow me to grow where I need to. Like, come on, like these Shorty, like yes, all right, little boo, whatever, but like the point, like, what's the point if I know one, you probably not even thinking long term like I am about marriage and all these things. Like it's just a distraction. But the growth even from that full solo trip is realizing like there's a time for romantics, there's a time to be emotional because we need that. We're emotional creatures. And I'm not even talking about from a person. That's what I learned in the trip is like I can create that emotion not for myself, but communing with God of like if I really do believe he loves me, that love has to be the greatest love and biggest sense of someone attracting me to them as possible, because that's my first love. That's the person who loved me before I was even born. That's the person who loved me before my mom knew she loved me. And I had to be able to settle with that first and accept that he loves me more than anyone. And that's the biggest win, because no matter what I do, he loves me. And no matter what I do, my mom's love me. And then it created the thoughts of everybody who loves me on that emotional level first, unconditionally. And then we can add conditional love. But those are the things I learned on my trip.
Wow. Okay. So this you talking just kind of cleared up some stuff in my own head. You said for people there's like these three, I guess, maybe like sectors or sections. It's either complete individuality where it's just me, or it's I have to be with my friends. And now that you're mentioning this, there's definitely people who I see where it's I'm just gonna be like alone.
Yeah.
Then there's people who are they always have to be with somebody, whether that's friends, and then you also said the third one where it's somebody always needs to be with their significant other. And I know we can all relate to seeing people like this in our lives, and it's just interesting that you say that because I've never thought about it like that. But I think like what you were saying is like you need a perfect balance, and I think that's perfect, and I think that's some great advice. So something I saw on your Instagram is happiness is fleeting, but joy is forever. Happiness is what happens. Joy is what stays no matter what. And you go on to tweet, most of us chase happiness without realizing all the troubles we've gone through to have it, just for it to be gone before we know. Why do you think people are obsessed with chasing happiness?
Who wrote that? Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I be going, oh, trust me, bro. I just really make things and send it out, and I don't look at it twice. But well, except my reels. If y'all check out my page, he probably gonna drop it somewhere. But my workout reels, I watch all my reels at least like 15 times. Nah, 15 times a day. I was just watching it. Yeah, yeah. I like my reels a lot. I watch those. My workouts be like yeah, a little bit more long. But that was good. Yeah, happiness is what happens. I'm a bit, I'm a pastor's kid, so etymology or breaking down words is like a pastor thing. You hear sermons, what it means in the Greek, all that fancy stuff. But I mean, when you hear the word happy, what's the first four words? It's happenstance, happens, and that's the etymology of breaking down a word of like it happens. And I don't know what the Y stands for, but all I know is it has the same it has the same prefix, the prefix of hap, and that's where that comes from. So that's the nature of the word, which is so interesting to me. Just if you just took the time, if we just take the time to understand the words that we use, we'd have a lot more answers of like, I just want to be happy. So you just want things to happen to you that just positively affect your life. That's the deeper thought of like, I just want things to happen for me. rather than joy. And joy is like no matter what, you still have this sense of contentment that you're okay. Where happiness is going to be gone when someone dies. Happiness is gone when things don't go your way. Someone flops on you, the check don't clear, you sprain your ankle. Just the happenstances of life are not on my side, and I'm not happy. Joy, joy is everlasting. Joy is a thing that nobody can take from you because you can find the light. You can find delight in life no matter what. There's a delight in being able to be alive. There's a delight to be able to connect with people, to see yourself, to improve yourself. And there's also the reality that sometimes it's all nothing and none of this matters. There's as much as there's beauty to it, there's also the other side of this isn't that serious at all. All of this really does not matter. Like the jobs that we work, we really just do it for money. When we really think about the end of the day, we really don't give two craps. We care more about your podcast and how it can affect lives more than whatever school I work for and this person at Gary Vee's company and that person Ciroc and ESPN. That's all cool. At the end of the day, the finals is over. Things end. Things pass away, and none of it is everlasting. But when you sit down and there's nothing happening, and it's just you and your thoughts, and the wind is just passing by, do you have the light? Can you breathe safely and comfortably, knowing that I'm here in this moment, I'm okay, I'm alive, and this is life. Sometimes there's not more to life. Sometimes, you're gonna get to all your goals and you're gonna ramp up quick. And it's just like, what now? And it's like nothing. But happiness is gonna be chasing. You're gonna be like a wild dog. Like, what's the next thing that's gonna make me feel good? Got the Dior bag? Bet. Let me get the Louis one. Bet. Got the Birkin? Let me get the Lambo. Let me get the Lambo. Let me get the house. Let me get the house. Let me get the counter. Let me get the counter. Let me get the island. Let me get the island. Let me get the yacht. Let me get the yacht. Let me get the boat. Let me get the boat. Let me get the plane. Look at Elon Musk. He's about to go to space. This is what we call happiness. People are crazing themselves over the next thing so much that no matter how many millions and billions, you have this man who's accomplished enough that wants to take over another rock in the sky. Do we ever stop to really think about like the restlessness of accomplishment? He got divorced. He didn't even like we get to the point of happiness of just wanting to feel something for 2 seconds, just this little taste of pleasure of someone saying maybe good job or congratulations, even to like the emotional part of happiness of like someone saying I love you, someone just saying I care. And we chase it so hard to the ends of the earth, and we do so much, and we exhaust ourselves, and we exhaust resources, and we exhaust time. And that's where the no grind, the grind, no sleep culture came from. Chasing happiness and success and goals. Because once you reach the goal, that's the pinnacle. That's the climax. And once you get it, it's like, and just like that, just like your breath, it's a vapor and it's all gone. Exactly just like that. And we rile ourselves up, and we do it again and again, one thing after another. And the reality is, we see it with athletes. It's like even after you play, you just have to find something to rile you up so you can complete and just and then it's over, and the cycle continues. But you never have joy, and you never have peace. And voila, that's it.
You're spitting right now. I'm not gonna lie. So this is making me think. Um, so I didn't know that happiness means that it just like it happens. So what I've kind of came to the conclusion from this conversation is that people shouldn't be obsessed with just chasing happiness, because you're going to be chasing the wrong thing. Like you said, we should be not chasing, but pursuing joy or peace, because like you said, so you were just talking about how happiness, or I'm thinking now that happiness comes out of maybe like a place of like insecurity or like lack of self-worth, because what you were just saying is that like for Elon Musk, for example, because when you said that, my thought immediately came to who are you to say he's done enough? But what is that? What is him going to the space going to do? If that's what he wants to do, sure, fine. But what is that going to do? What's next? Like you're saying, there's never gonna. It's just never ending. So
He's not gonna stop. He's
yeah.
not.
So my thing is like, is that coming out of lack of insecurity? Should I reframe like because a lot of people say they just want to be happy, but if happy just happens, that's just interesting because I feel like now that everybody's been saying like chasing like putting like I don't know, it sounds like everybody's been pursuing the wrong thing, and it's just super interesting to me now. So,
It's a counterfeit. The same way I'm happy we caught up to the lust versus love thing. All right, that's great growth. You know, people like to bash social media and all these things, but there's helpful resources that now everyone is aware that they have to consider: is this lust or is this love? That's great. We came a long way. Then the next battle is happiness over joy, because like you're saying is like I just want to be happy, right? And you ask him, okay, what would make you happy? Most times, not all, because I have had an answer where it's just like I just want to be comfortable with myself. I just want to know myself, or I want to, have people who deeply care about me. I want friends, these are things of joy where you can like know that you have people around you, family, the security of life. But then when you talk to people who's like, I just want to be happy, man. I can't wait for that one day when I'm 27 and I'm on a yacht and I'm balling in the house and I'm gonna have kids. The kids gonna be dope. I'm gonna dress my kids in the Marys, and it's like, yeah, you're more concerned with the things that are gonna happen for you. But yeah, great.
so something that so first I want to get back to the question, or not the question, but you mentioned fasting. I was just wondering how long did you fast for?
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I just did it for like 2 weeks, maybe. I think by the time I got to Puerto Rico, I was still stuck. I was trying to break out of it, but it was so natural. I don't even know. I definitely did it for a good week, too, but then it became like a lifestyle for like 2 months. Yeah, it's pretty hard. It was pretty hard to break.
So something that your mother always told you was that you were born alone and you will die alone. Why is this important to you?
Gee, that's how you become solo and not feel bad for it. It's like you were born alone, you're gonna die. You came into this world alone, and you're gonna die alone. There's not people you can take with you. No matter how much you love whoever, unless it's your wife, and you have a great chance of her dying with you, old age, hand in hand, like also the Notebook, dying one after another. You're definitely, even then you was born alone, unless I always ask my mom what about twins, trying to be smart, but they're still born separately. I mean, nah, not really. They're born together. But to stay on track, point is, I mean, the life is alone. So it's like she gave me the beginning. You was born alone. You're gonna die alone. So what is this life gonna be consistent of? That you're gonna find yourself alone more than you are with other people. I live with roommates, and I still feel alone. Not lonely. There's a difference. Lonely is that's a whole different conversation. But being alone, being able to find yourself in a place of solitude and by yourself, no matter how many people you have around you, back and forth, coming to and fro, every decision that you have to make for your life is on you, and everything you decide to do is on you. You're gonna die alone. You're here alone. Mhm.
So my next question comes from Instagram. I like to take a few questions from Instagram, see if somebody has anything that I'd like to ask you. So one of the questions that I'm picking for today is shout out to Manny of DC for the question. He wants to know, what do you believe separates you from others?
What do I believe separates me from others? Okay. I don't want to be smart. I don't want to be smart ass. But I would say, I was gonna say just being me. That's what separates me. Like I'm me. All right, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna say me. I'm gonna dive into why that separates me from others. Because there's only one of me, and me recognizing and acknowledge that me being me is enough to separate me is far, far more distinct than any skill I can ever pick up. Because guess what? Everybody can pick up a skill. There's someone that's already done your talent. There's someone, when people be like, oh, I don't want to be a rapper, there's already rappers out there. There's always going to be somebody proficient in any area you want to be in. You wanted to start a podcast. Well, I mean, what? Should I start a podcast? I mean, there's mad podcasts. Why would I start a podcast? You know, it's just like all these questions that we like to think like it's oversaturated. There will never be an oversaturated market for you. There's actually an undersaturated market, and there's a demand for you. There's always going to be a space for you because no one else can be you. So we always going to need you to show up and be you. No one else can be me. If I die today, I can have kids. I can have 7 of them. None of them could be me. None of them could think like me, speak like me, create like me, or even embody me. They could look like me a little bit, but they'll never be able to accomplish in the same way and fashion of the things that I am. I am who God has created me to be. And that is so special. He's made me so special, and he loves me so much that he only made one of me. That's so dope that I don't have a second one. There's no junior. There's no mini me. There's no me light, me like it's only one. Imagine if there was only one of something in the world. Like learning in business that like supply and demand, that was the most beautiful. Oh yeah, I forgot you were in the same major. But you notice, like economics, supply and demand, like depending on the supply and the demand for that supply would determine its price. So if there's a high supply, low demand, low price. If there's a high supply, high demand, they could strike up the price. But imagine low supply, only one, and high demand. It's invaluable. It's invaluable. You can't ever put a price on a supply that is in such demand. No price will ever be great enough. But yeah, man, that's what makes me different. Y'all can never be me. Y'all can never do me. Y'all can never outdo me being me. You could be, bro, you could lift more. You could do whatever you want better than me. But when it's time for me to show up and be myself, and what does that mean? I won't be too much of an asshole. What does me being me mean? I am a creative. I am a writer. I am a thinker. I'm an enthusiast of life. When it comes to life and light and how to have life abundantly and how to live life, that is me. I'm invested into this time on this earth and how to make it the most purposeful. And when it comes to that and introducing others to how they can find that for themselves, I know for a fact the way I communicate it to others, the way I present it to others, the way I can enable others and give them that sense of purpose to be able to do the steps to find it for themselves, I am the dopest. Good job, ET. Good job, Creflo, Joel. I don't know who else is there motivating and all these things. I don't motivate, I inspire. Motivation just gets you riled up for a moment, but inspiration stays in you. And that inspiration is because it's purposeful and it's going to enable people. I'm an enabler. So when that happens, it's lights out. I'm D Wade and LeBron. Cavs. Game. All right, I'm done. All right. Yeah, got me.
So something that you just said that I love when you were talking about who you are, you said a lot of I am statements, and to me, I'm somebody who's like huge on affirmations, and to me that sounded like those were all affirmations. I am this, I am that, I am whatever, and I think that's something that people need to work on is how they talk about themselves. And I could tell just from this conversation that you've talked to yourself a lot, and and it sounds like weird, like he talks to himself, but like seriously, you have to have these conversations with yourself to kind of know who you are and be able, because it's one thing being able to say those I am statements that you said, but you said it and you believed in it, and I think that's the powerful thing. And something that you also mentioned is that you want to be purposeful. And my question to you is, what's your purpose? What do you believe your purpose to be?
Yeah, my purpose is to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ to every person I can as best as possible. Go and make disciples of everyone that He's given me to, and through that, use my skills. So my skill set of whether it be creative, whether to be business oriented, but I have a set of skills that puts me in spaces that wouldn't usually work in the terms of being Christian or being a believer. And that is my vantage point to use the things that I'm incredibly good at, that, so many, and use that to my advantage to the spaces I'll be in, be able to minister to people.
So my next question to you, and we're gonna wrap up soon. I just want to know, what are you struggling with right now in life?
Well, that creative identity, that's one for sure. Um, that creative identity. I'm really candid on Instagram. I mean, yeah, honestly, that's why I have to make a separate one for my fitness, because I just like sharing that this thing is not perfect. Like, there's not a bunch of highlight reels.
So
Um,
maybe a better question would be, is there anything in life that you thought you've worked through and that you've beaten, but you find yourself still struggling with till this day to kind of like overcome?
yeah, man, I would say relationships. I think I do a lot of things well, but like, I'm not gonna lie. I thought I would find the one by not the one, but a one by now. It's kind of like, damn, I'm I'm not gonna figure this one out. Yeah, man. I enjoy dating, but I don't enjoy relationships, because relationships to me, that's like game time. That's like, yo, if this is not for everything, this is not for all the chips. I play for championships. I put it in best basketball terms. Like right now, I'm in the season of prospecting, going to the draft, we're checking out some recruits, just seeing how they shoot the ball, pass around, team players to attitudes. If they miss a shot, how they're gonna get back up down the court. Seeing how well they prep themselves, training. Um, Couple prospects here and there, go on some visitations. Those are dates. But in terms of when it comes for the playoffs and you draft those players, when you're coming off the bench, you want to play for the championship. Nobody competes for Eastern Conference Finals. Jason Tatum and the Celtics didn't go play in the finals to be like, okay, we made it. Like, this is good. We made it this far. Being like, I've been engaged before, so it's like, you come so close to the championship, and it's like to see somebody else. Well, she didn't marry someone else, but you know what I mean. Like to see, it's still the same feeling because I've lost the championship. So it's like you get so close to seeing a whole trophy, and the trophy just gets taken away. So it's like, yeah, bro. Yeah, man. I play for chips. I play for rings. I play for big rings. You feel me? Playing for that.
And I think that's great because a lot of people date just to date. I think dating with the intent to for like something to actually come out of it is more important. Because I ask people like, I was like, is this the one? Like I'll say to my friends like, are you dating this girl? I was like, oh, is this wifey? And they'd be like, I don't know, but it's like, of course you don't know yet, but it's like, what's the goal in mind? What do you kind of what are you in that relationship for? So before we wrap up, I'm gonna read you a quick poem for you, and then I have like a couple questions that I ask every guest to see if there's like a correlation between what people define as success and what a successful person would say. So let me read for you the poem, and this is from your Instagram, by the way.
What the freak?
All right, still nigga, hand behind your head, state of arrest in civil unrest. Which one of us is next? Sometimes televised, sometimes not. Spares the chalk, closed caskets. Wishing life could be again. No magic tricks, just tragic fits. We are all problems, kids. Orphans to solutions family. All we seen is tragedies. All we want is to live happily. Can I live? Can I win? Can I be? Without being a threat, rope noosed on the neck, in dire distress of breath, longing a glimpse of rest, arms out, palms open, stretched to be free, only to be trapped, never to be me, love. So I just want to know what that means to you.
Sheesh, each put me on a time capsule. Mm, I'm so impressed with myself. I really am. I need to start reflecting more with like feasible things like that. Because most time I just mentally reflect like maybe like last week where I was and this, but that was good, Jonathan. That was good. I'm impressed. Um that meant a lot of the tension that was happening at that time, just wanting to just figuring out like, can I ever be myself fully without having to think so deeply about what it would mean to others? I think it's one thing to be yourself unapologetically, but then to realize there's also going to be consequences for it, and that's the part that I was just like thinking of, like that's a lot of scrutiny to experience and to even think about. Like I just want to be me. I just want to be free. I just want to be black and not think of me being black like on some OJ. I'm not black. Like even that is just like damn. Like the fact that I'm in this credential means a whole different lifestyle for me. Just like damn, I ain't do nothing for this, but I just wanna. I don't know. I just wanna be free. Yeah. Can I breathe? Mhm.
All right, so my second to last question is
Mhm.
what's your definition of success?
Whatever you make it, whatever it is, whatever you deem to be success. Am I having a successful day so far? Almost. I'm almost successful. Success can be day by day. Nobody can determine your own idea of success. Anyone who pushes the idea of success on you, I don't even know. Let's just leave that to it. I don't know where they need to be.
So, do you have a definition of success for yourself?
For myself, yeah. I mean, once I get everything I need to do for the day done, I've been successful. If I need to clean the stove in the bathroom and then put laundry away, I'm successful. Today's success is determined if after this I go to my desk, I finish up with some work, and I go outside and get a lift. I do have to put my laundry away, and I got my cheat meal in the freezer. Relax a little bit. If I do all that, success. That is just like, yeah, you're done now. The balance. I'm gonna work out really hard in the sun and then eat really nasty after, cause I can and I enjoy it. Success. Yes.
So, let's say today is your last day on earth.
Mm,
You have the world's attention with all the experiences you've had, the conflicts you face, and the
mm.
lessons you've learned. You are able to tell people two things. What would be your advice?
Two things or two words?
Two things.
Okay, I was gonna be like, I had two words. I'm like, love Christ. I'm dead. Two things. First thing, yes, love God, love Christ specifically. If you're a religious person and you already have a religion, and religion is just a set of practices that you do to practice your faith. So if you're someone who's saying you're spiritual and you're not religious, and you still have a practice that you do on a daily basis, don't believe me. Look it up on Google. Like I said, etymology will educate us all. We use a lot of words that we don't know, and religion is one of them. If you practice something on a daily basis that is expressing your faith, it's a religion. So you feel me? If you do your crystal thing, whatever you're rocking out with, we're all religious. Our spirituality and what we practice is a religion. I would say look into Christ. I think he's a monumental figure for a reason. I think when people try to tear him down and try to, you know, build different pictures around who Christ was, it's always great because we know the greatest people always have the doubters, the lovers, and the legacy lives. For a legacy to live that long is it says enough for you to do your homework. So investigate Christ, love God, find out who He's made you to be. And my second thing is, find joy, joy, joy and peace. Joy and peace will take you a long way. So build your life around those two things, those three things: God, love, peace. God will bring you love. So God is a big umbrella. But if you could tailor your lifestyle, because again, God can't tailor your lifestyle for you, but He'll give you the love. You find God, you found love, and you'll find yourself. And with that comes joy and peace. Tailor your life around those two things, joy and peace. What are the things that bring you joy and peace that are invaluable? What brings you peace? What is a peaceful lifestyle? These rappers go crazy because they build lifestyles of happiness, of things that have to happen. Let's go skydiving. Let's buy a bag. Happen. It doesn't bring peace because all those blessings are responsibilities, and now they have to care for them with financial resources, but they can't because their deal is jinked up. But what are the things that bring you peace? Does sitting make you peaceful? Does laying down make you peaceful? Does cold water make you peaceful? What are the things that you can create within your environment of yourself, no matter where you are, that can bring you peace? That's my 2 cents. That's it. And now I'm back.
Well, that was 3 things, but I'll let you slide. Okay, my last question to you is, and this might be the most important one, where can listeners find you?
Define.Lewis on Instagram. I tell everybody, you don't want my number. I don't answer no text. If you want to find me on Instagram. I have Twitter, I have Facebook. I'm on everything. But if you want to find me, I'm on Instagram.
Jonathan Lewis, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Case by Case. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to drop a like, follow, or rate on whatever platform you're listening on. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. So if you want to help others prepare for the path to success, don't forget to share this episode on social media so we can reach success together.